of fearsome armaments.
This is a memo that describes how we're going to take out 7 countries in 5 years, starting with Iraq and then Syria, Lebanon, Libya, Somalia, Sudan, and finishing off Iran.
On April 6, 2017, on the 100-year anniversary of America's entry into World War I, Donald Trump launched airstrikes against the Syrian government in retaliation for a gas attack supposedly perpetrated by Assad. There was no investigation, not even a hack job of a frame-up like we had in 2003. The evidence we do have contradicts the official story, and the stakes are much, much higher this time around. Then, before the dust had even settled, Trump pivoted to Asia, ratcheting up intimidation tactics towards North Korea, threatening regime change, practically begging an already insecure Kim Jong-un to do something stupid. And that's the point. Provoke a response, and then play the victim. If he can't get it the old-fashioned way, he might just make one up. Trump cut a deal with the deep state. He signed on with the neoliberal neocon corporate alliance. They got his back now. As long as they get their war, everybody's happy. Make no mistake, this is just the beginning. Expect the unexpected in the South China Sea, Iran, Eastern Europe, and on the home front. The circus tent is coming down. But boy, oh boy, is he going to give us a show in the meantime.
I think this is the most dangerous moment in American-Russian relations since the Cuban Missile Crisis in 1962. We're in a new and worse Cold War with Russia. There are 3 Cold War fronts fought with hot war. The Baltics, where NATO is building up, Ukraine, you all know that story, and Syria.
The additional kind of stories coming out of Washington this past week that the United States is actually developing some plans for the killing of Kim, or for deploying nuclear weapons inside of South Korea, that would lead to an escalation of tension that could lead to accidental nuclear war on the Korean Peninsula.
Trump isn't just flirting with World War III. He's inviting it. And he wants everyone to know that he's crazy enough to pull the trigger. Thinks it'll help him twist some arms. Thinks he can force the big boys to negotiate. This isn't a real estate deal. And that's not an ace he's got up his sleeve. Nobody wins a nuclear war. If just 300 of Russia's nuclear bombs were set off in the United States, somewhere between 75 and 100 million people would die in the first half hour. Most of the infrastructure needed to support the population would be instantly destroyed. Communication systems, hospitals, transport, power plants, etc. Those not killed in the initial blast would die slowly in the coming months, from radiation poisoning, starvation, exposure, and disease. And this is just the tip of the iceberg. Even a smaller nuclear conflict involving only 50 to 100 Hiroshima-sized bombs would send 5 million tons of debris into the upper atmosphere, causing global temperatures to plummet catastrophically, reducing rainfall worldwide for up to a decade, devastating agriculture and triggering mass starvation on a global scale. That is not a world you would want to raise children in. The powers that be want to tip the game board, rewrite history, start again. They think you're too dumbed down, too distracted to see past their pseudo-emotional platitudes and actually look at the evidence. It would be complete.
Remember before the selection when Donald Trump, who was a New York Democrat running as a Republican, was the anti-war candidate? And Hillary Clinton, who was a lifelong Democrat, the party that sells itself as the more anti-war party, was the war candidate? And how Trump's rhetoric about making friends with Russia and even letting Russia take care of ISIS in Syria led many to believe that the only way to get out of a potential World War III scenario was to vote for Trump. And then how Trump was elected, started saber-rattling with Russia and China and North Korea, and then bombed Syria just like Hillary Clinton would have? Yeah, that all happened. It seems crazy, doesn't it? But there's a reason why it seems crazy. It's because it happened on purpose. The globalists, banksters, Zionists, Illuminati, Masons, Jesuits, pick the one that makes you most comfortable, to control the whole show, do it all on purpose. They are laughing at the whole world right now for falling for their tricks time and time again. And they love to make it as confusing as possible so your average slave or voter feels a complete sense of having no control and not even being able to understand what's going on. Many people right now are saying, but I thought voting for Trump would end the wars. I guess things are more complicated than I thought. Nope, they aren't complicated at all. The wars will always continue. Wars aren't meant to be won. They are meant to go on for eternity. If the fact that the U.S. has been terrorizing Iraq for 27 years now, since the first Gulf War in 1990, doesn't make you realize that, then nothing will. Every 4 years in the U.S., 2 puppets are offered up to the public, and the people, dumbed down in 12 years of government indoctrination camps, then think they have a choice about who's going to tell them what to do for the next 4 years. They don't. The 2 options are always rigged. Trump is no different than any. And even if the public chooses the less preferred one, like in the year 2000, they'll just mesmerize the public with some hanging chads for a few months and then install their preferred choice, which in 2000 was George W. Bush and the real president, Dick Cheney, who were better suited to manage the 9/11 false flag event that had been planned by the Project for a New American Century, or PNAC, for years prior. What Americans need to realize is that they don't have a government. They have an evil cabal of mostly satanic globalists who enslave and extort them throughout their lives, and even after they die, with the final death tax to take what's left.